Hello, I'm AJ from AG Tutorials, and in the last video we had talked about relational operators and booleans. In this video we are going to be talking about how we can actually use those relational operators to do stuff inside of our code, and that is the basic fundamental aspect of a conditional. So let's get started by creating a new playground, just like we did in the last video. And I will create a new playground and simply call this a conditional. Of course, you can name whatever you want. I'm just naming it this way so I remember what this is, and delete all of the code. So in Swift, sometimes we actually want to run certain code depending on if a condition is true. And what do I mean by a condition? What do I mean by a condition? A condition is simply very similar to the Boolean. For example, a condition might be 9 is greater than 8. This is actually a condition. If this is true, this is a condition. A condition is basically kind of a requirement that we need to give to our program to actually do something. So how do I create these conditionals? In Swift, we have something called an if statement. So if you type in if and you double click, you notice this is what pops up. You have an if, condition, and then code. So what is the purpose of the if statement? The purpose of the if statement is to run the code inside of the curly braces, when this condition here that we specify is true. So what do I mean by that? Let's say I had a variable and I had number of cookies, and I set my number of cookies to 8, for example. I can have in my condition number of cookies is greater than 5. And then maybe here I can say print, and then I want to print something, and I can actually print a string, maybe saying I have more than 5 cookies. So I want to analyze this if statement a little bit. I've said that we have created a variable named number of cookies and it equals to 8. And basically what this if statement is, in plain English, is that we want to run this code. We want to print I have more than 5 cookies if the number of cookies is actually greater than 5. And if you remember in the last video, if we were to have created a variable, if we created a variable of a Boolean type and we set it equal to number of cookies greater than 5, it would actually have a value of true, because this condition or this statement is true. Number of cookies is in fact greater than 5. So an if statement pretty much runs the code inside of these braces when the condition is true. So this is useful. If I were to run my code, you will see that it prints out I have more than 5 cookies. But if I change this number to, let's say, 4, and I were to run my code, nothing happens because there is not, the number of cookies is not greater than 5, which is the condition that we specified. So you might be wondering, okay, well, when do we use if statements? When do you not use if statements? If statements are so powerful that we can use so many things. We can do so many things with it. For example, if you are in an application where you want to have an in-game transaction, let's say there's an in-game currency and you want to buy, I don't know, a hat or something for your character. Let's just say that you want to buy a hat. And the hat is, let's say, 1,000 coins. In fact, let's create the same scenario in our code. If we create a variable named price of hat, and we say that the price of hat is, let's say, 100 coins. I would have a variable that might be, okay, the money that I have is equal, let's say I have 600 coins. I can create an if statement, and I can say if the money I have is greater than or equal to the price of hat, then I can actually buy the hat. So maybe I can print out, use the print statement, and print out I have enough money to buy the hat. If I were to run this, you will see that because the money I have is greater than the price of the hat, I have enough money to buy the hat prints out. Now in Swift, there's also something else that we can add to our if statement to do something if this is actually not true. And that is known as the else statement. We could simply create an else statement simply by typing in else and then adding our two braces. An else statement must go always after an if statement so that they are connected. So here I can add print, autocomplete. So print, I do not have enough money to buy the hat. You will notice that when I run my code, it should say that I have enough money to buy the hat, but if I change my amount of coins that I have, let's say I have 8 coins, you will see right here, I do not have enough money to buy that hat. That is because Swift is looking at the condition and it evaluates it. And if it evaluates to true, then it executes the code that is inside of the if statement. And if it is not, then it looks to see if there's something else. And in the else condition, we print out, I do not have enough money to buy the hat. This is good. So now we've learned, okay, we have a condition and we execute code if condition is true using the if statement. We also can run code if that condition is not true using the else statement. What if I wanted to check for another condition if my original condition was not true? And that is where the else if statement comes in. I know there's a lot of statements. So let's say I change this to money I have is just greater than price of hat. And if this is not true, I want to actually check if the money I have is equal to the price of hat. I can say else if money I have is equal, and remember, double equal sign, equal price of hat, and then I can do something. Maybe I can print out, I have exactly enough money to buy the hat. So if the money I had is exactly 100 and I were to run my code, it should say I have exactly enough money to buy the hat. Why is this happening? Well, the first thing it's doing is it's checking the first condition. The first condition evaluates to false because 100 is not greater than 100. And then it says, okay, this is not true. Let's go to the next thing, else. Okay, so if this is not true, which it isn't, then we need to do this if statement because this is an else if. We're not checking another condition. And if it's equal, then we print out I have enough money, exactly enough money, and they are exactly equal, so it prints this out. So today you have learned the if, the else if, and the else statements. These are extremely powerful in the basic logic inside of applications, and you'll use them a lot, so it's important to practice. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and like and subscribe for more content. Again, thanks for watching.